I think I get what bugs me about Hera. It relies too much on the audience knowing that she's right. The narrative wants you to think, oh, she's so smart. She knows him. She can just tell at a glance who that kid is, right? Like, she's supposed to be that, like, wise, matronly, like, character. And it's like, that's what the narrative wants me to think. But when I, like, strip the narrative away, I'm like, what is this lady doing? This kid shows up out of nowhere, botches their op, and then comes aboard and is digging through their stuff when their backs are turned and listening in on their secret conversations, and then suddenly there's a trap. And the focus isn't on Ezra's reaction, right? Like, it's supposed to be a wow moment for the audience because it's focusing on Kanan, like, oh, look, it's a Jedi. And it's like, I feel like it doesn't really work when it's been so obvious.
Our crew boarded that transport to selflessly rescue Imperial prisoners.
Boarded to selflessly rescue. Why don't you just say rescue? Why do you have to say, we're doing it selflessly? Oh, okay.
It's a bit heavy-handed. It's part of what makes it a kids show. But I mean, like, TCW had plenty of heavy-handed moments. Plenty. So don't go coming at me saying that, well, Rebels was really kiddish, but like TCW wasn't. Like, TCW felt less kiddish because of all the violence, but it was still aimed at kids, and that was pretty clear from the many heavy-handed moments as well as other things, but that's one of the things. Yeah, I'm sorry, like, their beginnings just feel very abrupt. They don't really ease you into it. With TCW, they did the narrator thing, to like, ta-da, and here's what's happening, and blah, 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 right? So it did kind of throw you into it, but it also kind of eased you into it at the same time. It was kind of a bit of both. But like, I feel like when I'm watching other TV shows, that they don't start so abruptly. Whether it's like a kids show like Tangled the series or an adult show like Better Call Saul, like it just didn't feel as abrupt. Maybe it was, or maybe certain episodes were, but just like I don't know.
We should run now while...
You don't mean that.
I do, I swear I do. Which is why I can't believe I'm doing this.
I can.
I think I get what bugs me about Hera is that it relies too much on the audience knowing that she's right, that Ezra is the protagonist. Whereas if you look at it like, well, the characters don't know they're in a story, and this grown woman is like thrusting this kid, like messing with his head, all these things. It's like, hey, Hera, that's not cool, bro. Like, I think that's what bothers me, is because the narrative wants you to think, oh, she's so smart. She knows him. She can just tell at a glance who that kid is, right? Because she's like, oh yeah, I knew you don't mean that. And he's like, yeah, I do. And that's why I can't believe I'm doing this. She's like, well, I can, right? Like, she's supposed to be that like wise, matronly, like character. And it's like, that's what the narrative wants me to think. But when I like strip the narrative away, I'm like, what is this lady doing? She doesn't know this kid from Adam. And I mean, like, literally the reason they have him with them is because they're like, well, we can't trust him. We can't let him go because we can't trust him.
Can we please get rid of him?
No, we can't. The kid knows too much.
And then she's like, yes, we just found out we were in a trap, so you go, because I know that deep down there's good in you, rather than immediately suspecting like, everything was fine, and then suddenly you come along, and now we're in a trap.
Because, like, she has these little comments, like, there's one in the last episode, that kind of implies that she sees a lot of Kanan in Ezra.
Very creative. Sounds like someone I used to know.
So that's how she knows him so well. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, like, you can't just glance at a person and be like, oh, that reminds me of this person, so they must be like a carbon copy of this person. What the heck? Yeah, Hera is sketchy. Sus. Sketchy. Many words for it.
Which is a pity because, like, we know someone who she's, like, their favorite character. And so, like, I'd heard a lot of good about her. And I was like, I'm looking forward to Hera. And, like, first episode, and I'm like, I don't like Hera.
I mean, like, I was hearing some things in the lead up to starting this reaction series. And so, yeah, I was kind of going into it a little wary of Hera, and yeah, it's not looking good so far, which is disappointing. On the other hand, kind of boosts my hopes for Sabine, oddly enough.
You doing okay, kid? You kidding? Oh!
That's not how that works as far as I know. It's not like swimming.
Let go!
Kid, get out of the way!
I'm trying!
Suddenly, I'm a little ticked off at Zeb. Zeb has been pushing him to the back as if he doesn't care whether he comes along or not several times now. And then all of a sudden he gets caught and he's like, oh no, the kid! Oh no! Oh no!
And it's like, you're like, get out of the way. He's being held. Are you stupid? I feel like we've had a moment like this before in Disney Star Wars. I just can't remember where it's from.
Sabine?
Sabine is an arsonist. Cool.
Sorry, kid. You did good. They'll go easy on him. He's just a kid.
The Empire is bad. The Empire is bad. But Zeb is apparently not aware of this. It's just a kid. I'm sure he'd be good.
I'm just thinking of the whack scene from Kenobi with Reva, like, interrogating a 10-year-old child.
Zeb just went from, like, my favorite character so far to, like, what are you doing, bro?
They let him keep his bag?
Look, I just met those guys today. I don't know anything. They're not gonna come for me. People don't do that.
Yeah, this is gonna lead to some serious trust issues on top of the trust issues he already clearly had.
What's preventing him from selling them out? He's got no loyalty to them yet. And after Zeb just ditching him, he should be like, okay, this is my chance to, like, get on the good side of the Empire, I scratch their back, they scratch mine, and I go home and everything's fine. But he's the protagonist.
And also the fact that he clearly likes sticking it to the Empire, as he put it.
I'm not against sticking it to the Empire.
Could be partially due to that as well.
Search him, then secure him here.
They hadn't searched him yet?
We just met this kid. We're not going back for him.
We can't go back for this kid. We just met him. But it is okay, even though having just met him, to rely on him to warn us of traps. That's okay.
Well, Zeb and Sabine weren't the ones who relied on him. It was Hera. And she's the one saying we gotta go back.
Because her expression was one of defeat.
They'll be waiting for us. We can't save him.
And then Chopper said something, and she's like, aha! Well, the vote is still on. Kanan, you have to decide.
What? What did he say?
He voted with me. That's 2 against 2. Kanan, you have the deciding vote.
So yeah, she was on the verge of saying, okay, fine, I guess we'll leave him.
Bye, guys.
That was easy.
Order all stormtroopers to converge on the lower hangar. I'll meet them there.
This is Trooper LS123, reporting intruders in the upper hangar. Sir, I believe the lower hangar is a diversion.
Maybe, maybe not. Squads 5 through 8 divert to upper hangar.
That's actually really smart. Like, I think it was a little convenient that he was able to find that room and grab his stuff back immediately. But him grabbing that helmet, that's a clever character moment. And then, you know, using it to listen in, get information. And we've already seen him utilize their things to divert people already, right? So he's just doing more of that. Like, that's good. I like that.
Find Ezra. I'll be ready.
Okay, so last time she's like, I can't go because I have to be sitting here in the pilot's seat, ready to go. But this time she can hang out on the ramp and act as guard because reasons.
Great guard. I mean, if a squad comes in there, you're dead. You're one person. Oh, Hera, why did you have to disappoint so quickly?
And this time, try not to leave until everyone's back aboard.
That was not my fault.
Well, that's debatable.
First you ditch me, then you hit me?
How was I supposed to know it was you?
Are you dumb, Zeb? Are you really this dumb?
Apparently, okay, he's fallen off the favorite character list because that's just wow.
Take cover!
How is paint explosive? Also, how did she paint that with going and it's like this, like, it's the rebels thing. Like, how? I'm sorry, what? So far it's like TCW. It has its good moments. But then there's other things that you're just going, wait, what?
Honestly, I think it is doing better. Like, a lot better than TCW so far, because most of it is good. But then, yeah, there's also some glaringly bad in there that just forces you to stop and go like, okay, what the heck was that?
I think part of TCW's problems is that all of their setups, almost all, to be fair, were really, really bad. And when your foundation is bad, everything on top of it is bad. I mean, we're only on the second episode, so we can't say for certain. But in these first two episodes, I would say their setups have been good. I mean, like, this is like a two-parter. So I think probably the third episode will be when we really start to, like, see another setup. But so far, so good.
I'll get you home now. I'm sure your parents must be worried sick.
I don't have parents.
So she thought he had parents? And she did all that crap anyway?
Why is it okay for them to give him, like, to send him back home now, but it wasn't earlier? Because they're like, oh, he knows too much, so we can't send him home. Now he knows even more. And, I mean, since you don't know him from Adam, there's reason to suspect that he was maybe part of the trap. You really don't know. And now it's okay to send him home.
And I mean, after that shockingly easy rescue.
Yeah, he just happened to be right there. Yeah, no, like, if you look at it, not knowing what they don't know, how could it, like, he could be an agent. Yeah. Oh, they won't suspect a kid. Okay. This kid shows up out of nowhere, botches their op, and then comes aboard and is digging through their stuff when their backs are turned, and then listening in on their secret conversations, and then suddenly there's a trap. And because she's like, oh, we there's no need to suspect that. I'm gonna call him Lozenge because I forget his name. Their contact person. They're like, yeah, Vizargo. They're like, oh, probably Vizargo probably wasn't him.
The whole thing was a setup.
You think Vizago was in on it?
He'd sell his mother to Jawas for a couple credits, but we're a source of income for him. Even odds, he didn't know.
Like, she's nothing to ground that on. She's like, oh yeah, he would sell his own mother out, but it probably wasn't him. He probably didn't even know. So it's like, okay, well then, how did you end up, like, how did they get you to go into this trap? Oh, there's somebody with you who has never been with you before. And then they just so happen to get caught at the door. And then they're perfectly fine waiting for you when you get back. And you just manage to get away. And it's like, there was reason to suspect this kid. But he knew too much before, and now he knows even more. But now it's okay. Now it's okay to send him home.
Yeah. Have you heard of the spice mines of Kessel?
Slaves sent there last a few months, maybe a year.
And for Wookiees born in the forest, it's a death sentence.
Then I guess we better go save them.
Setting course for Kessel.
What?
Y'all should be so suspicious of this kid.
I just can't even right now.
Have they never heard of a double agent?
Maybe we shouldn't take this 14-year-old kid that we hardly know on our missions. Maybe we should send him home, because even though he doesn't have parents, he has a home, he has a life, and, you know, what we do is dangerous. And he's a 14-year-old kid. Hera. Also, it's interesting because before they were like, oh, we have no idea where they're taking the Wookiees. It's like, so secret. And then it's like, oh yeah, Spice Mines of Kessel, where they send all those slaves. Like, that's a horrible place. But we never thought to look there.
And they can just fly in with no air resistance? What? Are there no air forces around this base? Do they just not care?
Try not to get dead. Don't want to carry your body out.
So Zeb goes from, I'm gonna kill this kid, to, oh no, I'm the reason this kid is in danger, to, don't want you to get dead because I don't want to have to carry your body out. Because we're going into a dangerous situation and you're a 14-year-old kid that we hardly know, but are responsible for. It's good that there's nobody else in the entirety of the Spice Mines of Castle. Okay, thank you.
Now the TIE fighters show up. He just left the kid shackled? What the heck?
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, pretty much everyone else was unshackled. Also, how did nobody die in that blast?
Was the kid hiding before? Stop. I hate it. It's literally the exact same thing at the beginning of TCW Season 7. It's like, stop! That's not how the Force works. You can't just walk out completely unguarded into enemy fire. It's stupid, and it reeks of plot armor.
I find it interesting because when they came to Kessel, I was gonna say, oh, you know, this isn't, you know, you have them coming to Kessel here, and then you have Ahsoka going to Kessel in Season 7, and it's interesting how the differences, right? Like when Ahsoka comes to Kessel and you see all the slaves and she has to wag her finger at the Martez sisters, who are, for some reason, very naive regarding slavery. But like here, you know, they don't show all that. And I was kind of thinking, you know, again, this is more kid-friendly. But then when you point this out, and Kanan literally does the exact same casual dodge of a blaster bolt that Anakin does. I'm like, for Season 7, was Filoni just like, oh, I'm just take that from Rebels, and I'll take that from Rebels, and just do it a little differently. The man does not have an original bone in his body. Yeah, why did they stop?
Give me a break. This is basically Order 66. A lone Jedi cannot survive being shot at out in the open. That's not how the Force works. It's not equivalent to plot armor. Yes, it will absolutely give you an edge. But if you have multiple people shooting at you at once, you will die. Eventually, you're going to miss. And die.
It's one of those things that it's like, well, is the dramatic reveal, does it work? But I'm like, it's very obvious. Like, as soon as you find the lightsaber, and it's Kanan's, you know, he's like, give that to me. And the way he hangs it on his belt, like a Jedi would.
Lightsaber? Wait, isn't that the weapon of the Jedi?
Give it to me.
Was this supposed to be like a, oh my goodness, he's a Jedi? I feel like I would have seen that coming, but it's like, oh, look at this, he's a Jedi! And the focus isn't on Ezra's reaction, right? Like, it's not wow moment for Ezra. It's supposed to be a wow moment for the audience because it's focusing on Kanan, like, oh, look, he's a Jedi, instead of Ezra, us getting Ezra's reaction. It is built to make us react. And it's like, I feel like it doesn't really work when it's been so obvious.
Kanan, I think you inspired the kid into, well, doing something like you would do.
Yeah, again with the comparisons between Ezra and Kanan.
Hey! I'm sorry. How did he catch up to them? They've been running for like 5 minutes already. And then suddenly he's right behind them? How did he know where they went?
Also, he's like looking at the Wookiee's binders like, oh, what do I do? How do I get him off? The same way you got the other ones off, you idiot! This is just for the suspense, and please stop. Just stop.
First Jedi you've ever seen, sir?
That was such a Grievous moment, man. Here, let's just throw away some resources because I'm pissed right now.
I feel like there's a difference between Grievous breaking a machine and this guy just like killing someone. And it's like, up until now, it's been pretty kid friendly. But like, that's dark. Okay, I get that she said about the Wookiees that it's like a death sentence for them, a faster death sentence for them because they're not adapted to those conditions. They didn't help anybody else though. But then again, the show was very careful in that it did not show us anyone else who needed help. So it's like, do we give it a pass or okay.
He says if we ever need help, the Wookiees will be there.
How does she know Wookiee?
So, I guess you drop me off next?
Now it's okay to drop him off. What?
So, see you around?
Not if we see you first.
Don't worry, you won't.
And I mean, like, suddenly Zeb is trying to be friendly, and it's like, dude, you kept talking about him dying and you dragging his dead body around, stuff like that, and it's like, you clearly didn't want him around. Like, why the reaction when he gives you the cold shoulder?
Yeah, Zeb seems really inconsistent so far on that front, so I hope that improves.
He opened it. He passed the test.
Boy, he runs fast.
What's the Force?
The Force is everywhere.
Boy, Kanan got there fast.
I thought the Empire wiped out all the Jedi.
Not all of us.
Batman?
Is it all in his head?
We will each be challenged. Our trust, our faith, our friendships.
Why does he mention friendships? I thought the Jedi weren't supposed to have attachments.
Well, keep in mind Obi-Wan is a unique case because of his friendship with Anakin.
A new hope will emerge.
Gotta have that name drop in there.
The leader made good use of a lightsaber.
You did well to call.
Oh, it's that guy from the beginning of the last episode. I'm glad I remembered that. Assuming kids saw this like a week apart.
That's like a very awkward call. He's like, oh, good of you to call me, and then just stands there with his eyes closed, and then suddenly opens his eyes, and then like, I'm so, Callus must be standing there like, I'm sorry, I think we were having a conversation.
Well, Callus did it too, because he's like, he made good use of... Pause for effect. A lightsaber!
But he didn't pause anywhere near that long.
I don't know how it first aired, but like I really feel like this should have been like one episode rather than part 1 and part 2. And I mean, like, I don't know what constraints there are when it comes to kids television and stuff like that, right? Like, I know like for adults television, usually the pilot episode will be like a double episode or like at least an episode and a half. I don't know if or why they do it differently for kids, but like I really feel like this would have done much better as a single episode rather than a two-parter. It just flows better.
Don't forget to do all the things. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment below. Consider joining our Patreon. It would be very appreciated. And we will see you next time.
This is a reaction series. I can react to things I find weird.
No, you can't.